welcome to Me and You and Nancy Drew, a podcast where I, Colleen,
and I, Megan,
are reading and watching and gaming our way through the Nancy Drew universe, one media item at a time. Today, we read The Secret of Red Gate Farm, the 6th from the original series. This is, of course, from the 50s republished series.
The ones you're probably the most familiar with.
With the classic yellow covers, etc., although mine is purple because it's part of the 2-in-1 books that my mom got in the mail. 1961, we are out of the 50s.
1961, awesome.
Excellent. There once was a limerick recap.
This week, we've written you a limerick instead, and we will do that for the next few books before we move on to our next poetry thingamajig.
Poem?
Our next poem. Okay. Would you like to start with your limerick?
I would like to start with my limerick. I hope you, having the most Irish name of the two of us, will enjoy.
I'm so excited.
Young Nancy once went to a farm, but soon she almost came to harm. Found fake bills and occult counterfeiting's their fault. Secret Service said, "Thanks for alarm."
Oh my goodness, I love it.
I'm so proud of myself. I almost said she soon went back home safe and warm, but it doesn't rhyme. It's one of those where it looks like it rhymes.
It should.
And then you read it out loud and you're like, I hate poetry.
Maybe if I had a different accent, I could make this work.
I probably could.
You know, there's a few of those. All right.
Let's hear yours.
Mine. There once was a farm called Redgate.
Ooh.
To explore it, Nancy just couldn't wait. She discovered the plot and the bad guys got caught. And she saved it from a terrible fate.
Excellent, excellent, fantastic. That was very fun. I like haikus, I think.
Yeah, I loved writing the limerick. You know, you get to do rhyming words and the beat and the cadence of a limerick is very fun.
30-second recap.
And now, we'll actually give you a full recap. Well, I can't guarantee it's a full recap. We will attempt to give you a recap of what happened in this book, if it's been since the 4th grade since you last read this, or, you know, just you read it yesterday, but all of the details have already fallen out of your head.
Or you've never read it.
Or you've never read it. That's also an important one.
This is for you. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Ready, set.
So Nancy meets a sad person on a train, as she tends to meet sad people. And this girl, Joanne, has a farm that she lives on but is running out of money, and her grandma can't pay the mortgage anymore. So Nancy's like, let's go. We're going to go be boarders, and we're going to pay for staying there. But all these weird things. And maybe there's a cult and these people dressed in all white, and they go and wave their hands around a lot. And they go and investigate. And it turns out it's not a cult. That's just a front. They're actually counterfeiters that are using the property and this cave hidden there.
And you're at a fantastic work. I really liked the arm movements that nobody got. It was akin to a wavy arm man that is trying to sell me cars.
Yes.
And it was great.
I think that's a pretty accurate depiction of what was described in the book.
They were called grotesque movements.
Multiple
grotesque.
Yes.
So I don't if they're
know.
making grotesque movements, I'm assuming they're twerking. That is what I'm assuming is happening. And it did seem like everybody was doing different things as they did their grotesque movements. So some
people were twerking. I don't know. I was imagining it more like Charlie Brown Christmas.
Where everyone's doing a completely different thing.
Yeah, everyone's doing their own dance.
I really like that, actually. All right, time me.
Okay. Your 30 seconds begins now.
So Joanne is on a train and with Nancy and her friends, and Nancy and Beth have some perfume, and then a guy spills it all over them, or the train stops and it gets spilled on them, and some guy comes up and is like, hey, I've got a suspicious message, blah, 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 and they're like, this is very weird, and then a girl passes out, and then they follow her, and her grandma's farm is going to get sold or bought, and oh, God, I thought I was going to have so much more time. There's counterfeiters, and they're dressing up in wacky things, and there's also like a bunch of cranky boarders, and then Nancy monetizes the scene of the counterfeiting as a tourist attraction to save the farm. Yay!
Oh, very nice.
Oh,
especially at the end.
Yeah, but you really say about like all the jobs. She was applying for jobs. There was a lot of in the middle stuff that I totally messed out.
That's okay. I think I didn't get to the very end.
That's true.
And they caught the controversy.
Yeah, they were like, she put up billboards. This is like her main thing, is that Nancy put up billboards and she saved the farm.
Yes, they did.
Probably could have done the billboards earlier in the process, but that's okay.
Could have been the very first day. That could have been what they were working on. But, we had to go investigate what was this weird cave.
It was like chapter 7, and then we get the mystery of like, we were just kind of hanging out with Joanne for a while, helping her job search.
This was an oddly paced,
very weird. And also, didn't we just have a secret cave on a property where there was weird stuff happening?
Wasn't that literally the last book?
I think it was literally the last book.
That was the Shadow Ranch. Except that one was up.
Oh, it was an up cave.
It was an up cave.
This is a down cave.
This is a down cave.
It's totally different.
Yep.
Incredible.
We got to go to all the caves. So hopefully we'll get some more caves.
We have an in cave, maybe an underwater cave.
Ooh.
Oh, no, the other one had underwater stuff. Shadow Ranch, there was like, no, somebody had diving.
Now you know what happened in The Secret of Redgate Farm and what the secret is.
It's counterfeiters.
It's counterfeiters.
Everyone thinks the secret is the cult that about 10 chapters in or something, they're like, yeah, you should really stop letting these cult people pay rent. They're freaking me out. And she goes, no, it's fine. Money's money.
Money's money.
And I love that grandma's attitude towards it. I'm like, listen, they just dance. It's annoying, but whatever.
They're fine.
It's grotesque. I will say it is grotesque several times. But they're paying rent. Cliffhanger. Welcome to Cliffhangers, the section where we point out the greatest ends to the chapters, because in all the classic Nancy Drews and Hardy Boys, they try to end every single chapter with a thing that makes you want to keep reading. And I actually marked 2, but for opposite reasons. So one, near the very end, there's this guy named Carl Jr., more on him later, but this hamburger man, he shows up to rescue them when they're undercover in the cult. They're wearing the cult outfit, but the cult leader's like, let's make sure everybody takes off their masks so we know no one's here that's not in our cult. And they're about to get... They have got. They're about to get like left for dead somewhere. And Carl Jr. shows up and he's been, nice so far. And we think he has a crush on Nancy. And when he showed up, Nancy yells, "Oh, Carl, these men are counterfeiters. Don't let them capture you too. Run." And I thought it was going to turn out that he had been working with them the whole time, because there's only one chapter after this. And I thought somehow we were having a late game twist. So I was like, oh my God, the hamburger man. Then,
spoiler alert. He's not with the counterfeiters.
No, he does say that he is the god in the machine. He is the son of one of the boarders, and he has a crush on Nancy.
So he was following her.
Yeah, exactly. Like a normal crush in the 60s. Perhaps. I don't know. I wasn't there. And then the other one is also actually Carl Jr., and yes, and it's great. And it's while they're at a diner, which is also great. And there's Secret Service people there, as you do. Oh, it's like a gas station restaurant.
Yeah.
Diner vibes.
Yeah, I'd say diner vibes.
Yeah. And the Secret Service people are like, oh my God, you gave a fake 20. First of all, they're like, you paid for 4, maybe 3 milkshakes with a 20? That's exorbitant. You would have to get so much change. This was so ridiculous that I flagged it immediately, which was depressing. And then she comes back and they're like, oh my God, it's you. Tell us who you are. And then the last line of the chapter is, I'll tell you who she is, came an authoritative voice from the doorway, and I was ready for him to burst into song. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Nancy Drew, she's here for you. I don't know. But I really thought it sounded like the beginning of an I Am song from a musical.
That
or She Is song.
So funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you...
So my cliffhanger is a little less dramatic than my usual. There was no screaming.
There's no screaming. Nobody got run over. We
Yeah.
thought somebody got run over. They checked under the car to see if there was a body.
Yep. Nope. It was just a running lady.
Yeah, just a running lady.
So end of chapter 7. They are kind of doing all sorts of different research, trying to figure out who this cult could be and all the different people that they've interacted with.
Yeah, everyone they meet in this book is involved.
Yes. And so they're trying to figure out this girl who sold them the perfume.
Mm-hmm.
We will talk more about her later for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Bess finds a newspaper article that references Yvonne Wong.
Mm-hmm.
So I chose this because it just ends with, because there's an article in the paper that mentions her name. Bess thrusts the newspaper into Nancy's hand, indicating the paragraph. Wow, that is something. Read it yourself. And it was just so, I was very excited because I didn't remember this book at all.
Right.
I know I read it.
I had no memory of this book.
Like, at least with Shadow Ranch, there were parts of it as I was reading. I was like, I remember that too. This one, nothing. So I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to read what it is in this newspaper article because they're all so excited about it. And I personally love anytime like there is an article or something like embedded in. I know that's very controversial. Some people skip over any added poem or article that's added.
I couldn't skip it.
I always get very excited to read something from within that world. But I don't even think
really speaking to you in this moment.
Yeah, so I was very excited, which is why yes, this is my cliffhanger. But then they didn't even show us the full article. They summarized, and
she read one sentence from it in the next chapter. So
but
you sound foolish.
I was really hoping for
wanted a set aside, smaller set of text in the middle, maybe a different font.
Exactly.
Okay.
So although that was the cliffhanger I chose, it was because it gave me the most hope.
But
it didn't.
You were left
quite
on a
deliver.
cliff.
I know.
And they
well, it turned out the cliff
hanging
was.
there.
It just really turned out the cliff was really more of a step. So
I like that.
You know.
I really thought this was going to be a whole thing, and
I did
just
think
step down and it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that a lot.
Ship of the week.
In this segment, we choose 2 characters that we quote-unquote ship, which is, at this point, rather dated term from the early internet, where you had 2 characters where there wasn't necessarily any textual evidence that they would be in a romantic relationship or not, but you hope that they will get together, and so you ship them. And sometimes you are lucky enough that your ship sails, and yes, the writer, it becomes canon, and the characters do in fact get together. But I'd say the majority of ships tend to be unsailed.
I would agree. If they remain at port.
At port.
Yes.
Yes. So who did you ship this week, Colleen?
In the first chapter or so, I was very into Nancy and Joanne, the sad train woman. And Joanne's very shy, and Nancy helps her and says you can stay at her house. And Joanne's like, I'm really nervous about this job interview. Would you please come with me? And so I was like, that's very cute, but there wasn't a lot for it. But then we met Carl Jr., and I said he would come back to him. We're coming back to him right now. Obviously, Carl's Jr. is a hamburger fast food restaurant, and Bess thinks he is attractive. And the other thing we know about Bess, she loves boys and she loves food. What's better? Boys plus food equals Carl Jr. We have here the girls, particularly Bess. We're sorry Carl Jr. could not remain at the boarding house with his father. Bess loves that he's here. She's sorry to see him leave, but she does like to watch him walk away. And so my ship is for Bess plus Carl's Jr., the restaurant chain / man.
I love that.
Thank you.
I was also on the Carl Jr.
He's
on the mind. I chose an anti-ship.
Excellent. This week.
So it's very clear that Carl Jr. is interested in Nancy.
Yes.
And I mean, how could you not be?
It's like Barbie. She does everything.
She does it all. Exactly. And I don't know. We've had a lot of men show up in the novels.
I would say mediocre men.
Mediocre men. And he's just another one. And there's nothing, I thought maybe he was going to be another Secret Service agent, kind of like, I think that was in one of the previous books. Was that also Shadow Ranch?
That might have been Shadow Ranch as well.
Shadow Ranch just might have already done a lot of
most of this.
He was undercover. That was at least exciting, and
he was like a plainclothesman or something.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. No, this is just some guy.
Carl Jr.'s he's fine. But I just think Nancy could do better.
Especially because he's following her into the woods. Now, did that save her life? Yes. Do I want that to be a habit? No.
Exactly. And so he's fine. He's not good enough for our Nancy.
Even though I think the other girls are like, ooh, go hang out with Carl. He likes you. And I think she coyly is like, well, I'm busy.
Yep. So I think I've got the text on my side.
I think you do too.
I don't think Carl Jr. is sticking around for much longer.
But if he does, I think he would go with that.
I think
I think ours go together.
Not to say that Bess deserves less.
No.
I
think they have different wants and needs.
Exactly. And I think that Nancy needs someone who can keep up with her. Following people into the woods is not quite keeping up with.
No,
it's just following.
It's just following.
Cooking Corner.
So, welcome to Cooking Corner, where we discuss the delicious foods and snacks and things that the girls and their companions have. Normally cooked by Hannah Gruen, but I would say most of their time is spent on Redgate Farm. A lot of good country cooking.
Yes.
What did you find?
My favorite one, and the one I definitely wanted, was the delicious meal of hot biscuits, sizzling ham, sweet potatoes, and coffee. And then they finish up with the dessert of freshly baked lemon meringue pie.
See, that's delicious. That is a good cooking corner.
Yes, definitely. I think there were a few other times, though, where they definitely ate, and I always appreciate our girls eating. However, I would have liked more of a description of what they were eating, because one, I love food.
Right.
And two, I've really enjoyed getting to look at some of the foods that I didn't even know existed, or the snacks that I didn't know you could get. Did she get, like, peas?
Yeah, she just went and got peas at the drugstore one time. Okay, I would never choose that myself, but
exactly.
I love that for you.
What did you find?
Well, I have one bad one and one good one.
Okay.
The bad one is Bess misunderstanding how cows work, I think. And she goes, I always wanted to spend a vacation on a farm. She declares this longingly. Just imagine having cream an inch thick. And Joanne's like, we have a cow. You are not getting cream an inch thick. This is not gonna happen for you. Sorry. But then on the way there, they have to fill up on gas after they spend their road trip singing and chatting alternately, which is also how I spend my road trip. So that was very cute. And they stop for lunch at the place where they spend a 20 on Sundays and get a lot of change. But she wants a gooey sundae. And
Yes.
gooey is, I think, not... I appreciate that Bess appreciates food. I just think that we're on different levels, whereas I do not want cream an inch thick, and I want my sundaes to not be gooey, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe the hot fudge is what's gooey. I don't know. I'm thinking of the ice cream texture. I'm like, that shouldn't be gooey. That should be cold and maybe crisp. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they got chocolate nut sundaes topped with whipped cream. And she, in fact, says, because they're always teasing her about how she's plump, and that's a little blast from the past, but we've talked about it before. But she's like, here goes another pound, but I'd rather be pleasantly plump than give up Sundays. And I was like, same girl.
Yes.
Let's go.
Fashion police. On this segment, we look at the wonderful and wacky outfits featured in our Nancy Drew story. What do you have for us, Colleen?
I would say Nancy herself is being a bit of a fashion police woman herself in this book. We meet a creepy guy who turns out he's from the cult, but her first impressions of this man is this is a man who is running a job that Joanne applies for. And so the first sentence about him is he was tall and wiry with hostile, penetrating eyes and harsh features. His suit was bold in pattern and color, and his necktie was gaudy. Now, is that an outfit I'd love to wear? Yes, but coming on the heels of the description of his penetrating eyes, it does feel like this is negative. This is being marked in that this is a suspicious character because he's wearing this horrendous outfit.
Yeah.
And it turns out she's right, so...
Yeah.
I would like to bring up, I believe her name is Amy from Pitch Perfect, and say this is not a good enough reason to use the word penetrate, but we'll allow it. And then later, Nancy is a little judgmental again because she's talking about a young woman who's walking with mincing steps because of her extremely high heels. I don't know. I felt like Nancy was a little judgy in this one.
She's usually very understanding
Uh-huh.
and very empathetic. And to be fair,
She was right.
She
for
was
all of
right
them.
both times.
But I just feel like this is not good evidence for them.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Was her intuition correct? Yes, but this did not feel like
It was
good
not
evidence.
because of their outfits.
Exactly. What do you have?
So what I would like to talk about for the fashion police is the cult outfits.
Mm-hmm.
And
Again, not a real cult.
not a real cult.
They just do that so that nobody
the cult of the Black
Snake Colony.
The Black Snake Colony.
Very hilariously, to me, when Nancy calls her police chief friend, he picks up his one paper, I imagine an index card. He goes, let me consult my list of all cults. He says it's a list of all cults. And I imagine he gets out this 3x5 index card and calls her. He's like, I got to call you back. Let me look at my paper of all cults. Calls her back immediately. He's like, this cult isn't on there. She goes, you mean they're a phony? Girl, anybody can be a cult. They don't have to register with Chief McGinnis. But anyway, they're not a real cult. Perhaps because they're not on his piece of paper.
That's true. You know, they didn't register. They didn't go through the right
process.
the right bureaucratic process to register their fake cult.
Exactly. So they're wearing this just to get people to not investigate. I think
that's what it is. It is they're going for like, what do they know about cults? There are lots of people. They wear masks and they dance.
Yeah, sure. They're
and-
specifically a nature cult, apparently.
Yes. And so Nancy, Bess, and George decide to go infiltrate this cult, so they have to make their own outfits. Now, the outfits are all white, made of sheets, with a hat with eye holes cut out. And so I don't know if the original intention was to invoke what I think it invokes for many of us in our modern times, which is the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, because it completely shies away from mentioning any of that. But I know that's all I could think about the entire time was like...
Well, and in fact, the original cover, and then I believe maybe the 80s reprint, I think is what this was. I'm not sure. I found quite a few alt covers of this book, and many of them involve people in, white sheets. Some of them are pointed, some of them are not, but like, it's not amazing. It made me, I showed the cover to my partner who goes, I think I know what the mystery of the farm is. Is it the KKK? And it was not.
It's
and we
not.
don't deal with it at all.
Yes.
We don't mention it.
And I did look up the history of the KKK because of who I am, but just trying to figure out, like, would this be a reference that people would notice and see?
When initially reading this book. Right?
And the KKK has been around since the 1800s following the Civil War. It has had 3 iterations, as it turns out, including the modern one, which is still continuing to this day.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That was sarcasm. It's not wonderful.
It's not wonderful. It's in fact horrible.
It is. It is.
I didn't realize it went that far back. I will say the American education system about American history is not always helpful. So the only mention I heard of the KKK ever would have been in relation to racial struggles and civil rights struggles in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
And I did look this up, but not nearly as thoroughly as you did around this. Would they, if this came out in the 30s, would this have been a cultural reference? And probably, yeah.
I kind of think so. And if it's not, it's very tone deaf.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. And, I said the education system, but also that's on me. That's on me. I should have looked more of that up, and I'm going to more after this because I didn't do it as well as you did. But
yeah, and the civil rights movement is what reignited the third wave of the KKK began.
Yay! So it was dying down,
yes.
and then they got
yes
angry about people wanting to be treated like humans.
Cool. How dare they?
Cool. Yeah, and they make their own costumes out of the sheets. You mentioned that, right?
Yes.
They initially are like, we'll just borrow their sheets. It's a bed and breakfast. What will they need sheets for? And then they're like, actually, I'll buy some.
Yes.
Which I thought was good because the family, the whole point is that they have no money. So what if we didn't wreck the bed and breakfast sheets?
Exactly.
But it turns out that's not even related to the whole point of the group, which is counterfeiting. It's just...
Yeah.
It's just a leave me alone signal, which would work. I would also not want to interact with them if they reminded me of the KKK, but that's not even apparently what they were going for.
Yep. Nope. It was just generic cult, and I guess the very first cult they thought of was the KKK.
I guess. Yeah, not amazing. Not amazing.
Picture perfect.
In this segment, we take a look at the illustrations that are always included in these versions of the Nancy Drew books.
My first one is the one right before the title page, like you'll encounter this later, and it's Nancy looking worriedly into Joanne's job interview with this man who's smoking inside. What a delightful time. And says if only there was enough time to copy the code. She saw a code on this guy's desk that he got a phone call. It was suspicious. This is the guy with the gaudy outfit that we hate him.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a bad guy, but he got a phone call. He copied down some numbers. He said it was stock numbers. I believe Nancy goes, stock numbers like fun.
Yes.
Watch your language, ma'am. But she is stressing out because she can't copy the code in time. But she's staring directly into the room. And so I'm just thinking if we could focus a little bit more on copying the code and a little bit less on whether the people in the room are looking directly at you, which one of them is, then we would have more time for this, is my thoughts on this matter.
Amazing. So I chose one of the pictures near the end, which is when they have infiltrated the cult and as they have been caught and discovered by the cult members when they all have to unmask.
And they might have had more time if Bess didn't go, oh no, when
Yes.
they're like, take off your masks. And then they're like immediately way more sus.
Exactly. The quote at the bottom is, "Go on, Nancy," Bess shrieked. "You must escape." What I love and hate about this illustration. So everyone's all in their white outfits. Half the people are masked and half of them are not. They all just look like little ghosts. Because for some reason they also all have a mouth hole.
It's giving Oogie Boogie Man?
Yes, but what I love especially is because of the low quality, but these have been
Copied and copied. Yours is the digital.
I have the digital version as usual, but Bess is in the background. Bess and George are in the background being held by cult members. Nancy's in the foreground also being held by a cult member. But Bess's face is the same as all of the cult masks.
She's not masked.
She is not masked, but she also has two little eye holes and one little mouth hole. So I don't think she needed to have been so worried about taking off her mask. She looks like a cult member to me.
Yeah, she's fine. Her whole face is just little ghost. Like gingerbread man, chocolate chips for eyes. Incredible. Yeah, George at least has a kind of a smirk going on. Bess just looks like that.
Yeah, she just blends in with all the other masked
I'm
figures.
happy for her, I guess. My other picture perfect is they keep seeing this running woman. This is who they think they run over, and they look under the car to see if they missed her. They're like, well, I guess she's not here.
Not under there.
Wildly hilarious to me. And this woman, they just keep seeing her running, and they're like, what's going on with her? And she, it turns out, is the wife of the cult leader. She does not want to be in this cult, even though it's not a cult, it's about counterfeit, but they're still like, oh my goodness, that must be so hard to be the wife of the cult leader. They help her mail a letter at some point, but she's got this like gingham dress, I believe. Yeah, a blue gingham dress, which is plain and durable. And she had twisted her ankle. So Nancy's helping her walk. So her arm is slung around Nancy's shoulder. She is so worried. She's so distressed. And Nancy has got the most I don't give a damn look I've ever seen. And she just doesn't care. It's like she's got mascara out to here. She's looking askance at this woman. She's helping her, but she doesn't care. I don't even know.
Hilarious, because that is not the Nancy we know.
That's not what's happening. She like stopped and she's going out of her way to help this woman walk because her ankle's twisted, and she like makes her a walking stick. She is carrying, but in this picture, she looks like absolute disdain almost.
She's not even present.
Yeah. Dissociating during this walk.
That's what I was like. She's just completely dissociated.
Nancy's not here right now. We'll post these pictures as usual so you can enjoy.
Blast from the past.
So this is the part where we talk about things from the books that you probably wouldn't see in modern day books, even the modern day Nancy books. And that can be different ways of solving crimes or different technologies, or in this case, kind of a lot of racism. Mm-hmm. This has been the roughest book for that of the 6 we've read.
By far.
This is not a great book for it.
Yes.
In fact, the very first sentence.
Yes, our very first sentence. That Oriental-looking clerk in the perfume shop certainly acted mysterious.
Best be better. I understand it's of the time.
Yes.
And also, it just keeps coming back there. Specifically, it is labeled as an Oriental perfume shop, and that may have been what they called it, but, I mean, there's better ways to phrase that.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about how mystical the Orient is as a concept, even though we've been able to travel there for a bit. It's not.
Yes.
It's not Atlantis. It's not whatever.
And the ways that they're describing Yvonne Wong.
Yeah. They're always like she's
Oriental looking. Mm-hmm. She looks Oriental. She is Oriental.
But if her name is Yvonne, she must also be part French.
But then we never touch that again.
No. We're not going to go into any, French stereotypes. It is only about quote unquote being Oriental or looking Oriental.
And within that, I of course went down the Wikipedia rabbit hole to wonder what's the origin of this word. How long has it been used? This goes all the way back to the Roman Empire.
Really?
Yes. So the part of the Roman Empire that is kind of past kind of Italy, so looking at like the Greek, was known as Pars Orientalis, which...
Does that just mean the eastern part?
Yeah.
Okay.
It comes from the Latin word oriens, which means east.
Like when you orient yourself using a compass.
Yes.
Okay.
And so anything east was considered the like Orient part of the Roman Empire. Like Egypt was considered part of the Orient. So was Greece. So was Turkey. Our idea of what has been the Orient and Oriental has shifted through the different centuries to go further and further east. And so this was a word that was used and has been used for millennia to describe east. But that understanding of what east has been has moved slowly. To this day, apparently, there are still places in Europe that use the word Oriental to refer to different things of Asian,
specifically Asian, because when you're saying Greece, I don't think Asian.
No, we don't think of that. That's not.
I mean, and hearing Oriental as a racist term, and we should put a content warning on this in case people don't want to hear this thrown around a lot. But I do think of it as this is explicitly referring to Asian people from white people, from American or European.
And
people.
Now it's more like the American idea of Oriental was used, especially during World War II. You're using that word to now other people. So even though maybe the original term was not necessarily founded in this racist connotation, it became...
Is this just because of how people from Asia were treated, or people of Asian descent were treated?
Yes.
And so then it does become, even if Oriental was meant as just a descriptive with no adjective, no connotation attached, it becomes this racist thing.
Yes, but and even then, even before that, you're still talking about the different stereotypes associated, even just think about, like, you hear the words Oriental
and then you hear like a sitar or something
Yeah.
that may not even be. You hear the pentatonic scale, but then it's always like the specific twangy instrument. And I'm thinking specifically of that Sherlock episode.
Yeah,
with the tea, and that like the tea ceremony is very beautiful, but I just feel like they brought in a lot of like, well, if they're Asian, it must be this old like martial arts, and there's ninjas, and they always have that specific little twangy playing, even though there's in fact modern Asian music as well. A fun fact.
And that's, I think, just the problem I would have with that word is that it's not descriptive in any way, shape, or form. Especially
just means east, and in fact, the world is around, so everywhere's east of somewhere.
Yeah, it's different people coming from those backgrounds, not necessarily wanting to be called Asian because that's the largest continent.
It is the largest continent.
And that's not a very descriptive word either. Ko Wei Chen, director of the Asian Pacific American Studies Program and Institute at New York University, said the basic criticism of the term began in the U.S. during a cultural shift in the 1970s. He has said, with the USA anti-war movement in the 1960s and early 70s, many Asian Americans identified the term Oriental with a Western process of racializing Asians as forever opposite others by making a distinction between Western and Eastern ancestral origins.
That makes sense. I looked it up, and Wong as a surname is typically from China, specifically around Hong Kong. FYI. I need to look up more of this. I'll put some resources in the show notes because this is a rough book for this because it just keeps coming back. Every time they mention Yvonne, every time
they mentioned the perfume.
The perfume itself, the blue jade perfume that is it's sprayed on the cult members so that they can recognize, specifically the women, I believe.
I think you're correct.
And so it's unclear if it's like they can't recognize each other because they're usually masked, or if perhaps they can't tell various women of Asian descent apart without. It's hard to say. I don't work in this cult.
It's a money laundering operation. Okay?
Sorry. Money laundering operation.
Actually, not even money laundering.
I believe they're like, we're in manufacturing of sorts. Wink, wink. And what they manufacture is just fake bills. I did like that, actually. That was great.
Okay, do we have anything else from Blast for the Past?
Some lower key stuff. There's just some casual sexism all throughout the job search. Hey, do we know anyone who's looking for an office girl? You're a good looking girl. You should work for us. You're good looking. I'm like, okay, what is this job? It's like the second chapter or so. And I was like, I don't think it's a good business, but I didn't think we were going to go quite that. Like, usually the crimes are like, it's counterfeit money, or I'm looking for gold, and it's all money-based.
This will.
Right, it's money-based, it's property-based, it's usually not human rights abuse-based. But
we don't know. We haven't.
Yeah, we're only 6 books in. Sure could be. I did like right from the beginning when Bess buys the very expensive perfume, she's like, well, Dad gave me money to buy something frivolous, so I did. And it's like, that's cute. Do you not have your own money? Like, yeah, she's a teen, but she's like 18-ish.
Yeah, it says that I think they're all 18.
They're all 18, so there was a fun little bit where Joanne is maybe commenting on climate change. I don't know what this is supposed to mean. She's like, well, it's so hot and stuffy in my room. She hesitated, then added, of course, I guess it is everywhere these days. But the hesitating is like, now this is a tricky topic, and Nancy might not agree with me about climate change.
Just feeling out our new friend, trying to see, do we agree?
I ran out of Blast from the Past tabs, but it was mostly from just like, they said Oriental again.
One of my blasts from the past isn't necessarily the past for everybody, but when they go to get gas, they have to talk to the gas attendant who pumps their gas for them. Now, this is also a blast from the past for me, because where I first learned to drive was in New Jersey. And in New Jersey at the time, you are legally not allowed to pump your own gas.
Now, why is that? I've heard that.
I don't know. I honestly don't, because I pumped my gas everywhere else.
Jersey.
And then where I went to college, we had a lot of students. It was in Virginia, but a lot of out-of-state students from New Jersey. And so I had a friend who did not know how to pump gas.
Oh, right.
Because
if you didn't learn that when you learned how to drive.
And yeah, exactly. And she didn't have a car with her in college, so I asked her to fill up the gas for me one day. And she's like, I can't. I don't know how. And I was like,
shame in her eyes.
Oh my gosh, you're from New Jersey. Of course you don't know how.
That's the only state though, right?
Another state just made it legal.
As of August of 2023, it is now just New Jersey, but it didn't used to be. But it's just an old rule. It's not anything new. It's just old from 1949 because dispensing gas was thought to pose a safety hazard, and it doesn't not. It's a flammable liquid. You're near a car. Around that gas pumping time, I did mark this for Picture Perfect. Forgot to tell it where Nancy's just, this is some bombastic side-eye. She, like, pulled out a map so she could stare at the 4 cult members in the other car. And it's not subtle. The one of the guys says, hold these, will you, Hank? This, like, ginger ale he bought. I gotta pay this bird, but, like, I thought Bird was girl. This is clearly a man.
I thought it was a female gas attendant, too.
No, there's a man right here.
No, you're totally right.
Because she had to say, like, oh, these guys are kind of jerks. You can pump their gas first if you need. Because he was like, make it snappy. And she's like, I got here first, but I get it. You can pump his gas first. And I like that about Nancy.
Maybe I just assumed the attendant was a woman because
he said, I got to pay this bird. Or is he talking about the girl in the diner? But I don't think. Because he wouldn't have been able to take the ginger ale out if he didn't pay her. Maybe he would have. I don't know.
He must be wanting to go back because he says,
go back in and pay for the ginger ales.
I think he's bringing the ginger ales out and
hold him. I'll pay the bird inside.
Yes.
Okay. So it's not. Yeah. So
interesting blast from the past in that though they let you leave with your drinks.
Yeah. I guess it's because he's plugged into the gas. He can't leave.
True.
You know.
Still,
blast from the past from a different direction than I thought.
I don't think anyone nowadays, if you were like, let me go bring these out to my car and then I'll be right back in with my money. And now, to be fair, they are criminals.
This is when he shows off his wad of money.
Which is all fake.
It's all fake. But they don't flag him for giving fake money. This is the same place where Nancy got flagged for having a fake bill. And I thought they had mixed it up. But then she pulled one out of her wallet and they're like, that was also fake. So they had been distributing from Carson. They've been distributing it all around the area. Remember? Yeah.
Oh.
I also flagged let me look at a report we have here of all cults. I'll call you right back. All three of them. Let me just real quick.
It's not on there.
The rest of mine are just very funny phrases to me. Ghosts! Bess exclaimed, ghosts nothing. There's no such animal. Just good times from George. He doesn't care at all when her cousin is scared.
Mm-mm.
So there's some random girl in the middle of the night, and Nancy leaned out the window and called, what is it you wish? As if she's like a genie or something. Or
a princess.
A princess, what did you wish? Please drop your coin in the well. That just caught me off guard. George, again, being so mean to her cousin. Girls don't faint these days.
Yes.
Probably you would have screamed and brought all the cult members down on you. They'd have dragged you off and put an end to you. And Bess goes, thanks, you always say the sweetest thing. I like Bess fighting back for that. And similar to, but she didn't fall for it this time. Remember when she got a telegram from Carson?
Yes.
They are always doing this. This time it was a typewritten letter. It was typewritten and succinct. She had to return home at once. Her father needed her. She was not to communicate with him, and he could not explain why, and it was signed Dad. And she's like, hold on a second.
My father would sign this as Carson Drew.
But she's like, I'm going to call him anyway. And then the line's been cut. But she's like, I'm going to go to town and use their phone and then see what's up. And it turns out he didn't send it. But she didn't fall right for it this time. So.
Yes, she's learning.
Yes, and I like that. But I do feel like that would be much harder to fake if you're just texting. Maybe not, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. I also have, when Joanne does her job interview, Nancy comments that there's no elevator. And so they climb the dimly lighted stairway to the third floor. And this made me look up. When was it required by the ADA to have all public buildings fitted or retrofitted with elevators? And this was almost going to be my whole Gumshoe Game show because I looked up a lot about it. Give me a guess on a year when this was required.
1978.
Solid guess. 1990.
Oh my goodness. I thought 70s was going too late, honest. I mean,
And this is only public buildings, so like sometimes like churches and stuff can get out of this. And also specifically, it's like doors must remain fully open for at least 3 seconds so that people can get. I'm like, that's not helpful. That's not any time at all, especially if you're working with like crutches or whatever.
Yeah.
The control panel has to have Braille on it. The call buttons must be at least 0.75 inches in diameter. There's a lot of very specific things, which is good because otherwise people will get around that if it's cheaper. But I just was like, what? That's so late.
I also have a bonus fact.
Oh, yeah?
Which is the opposite of Orient is Occident. The Latin word Occidens, meaning west. So it's the westward word Occident versus Orient.
Interesting. But we've never described anybody as Occidental. Nope. That is interesting.
Maybe we should.
Maybe we should. Incredible.
Wound Watch.
This week on Wound Watch,
everyone was fine. I mean, everyone in our core 3, we're always looking out for Carson gets kidnapped a lot. Nancy has an attempting kidnapped. They attempted to leave her for dead, but it didn't succeed. So she didn't really get hurt. I think she got, like, her arm got yanked, and that's about it. So we have no new knockouts or kidnaps. So our total Nancy Drew knockouts so far is 3, and same for kidnaps, 3 for 6 for each.
Okay. Go Nancy.
She's doing okay.
She's working on getting a little safer.
Yeah, half of the books, she did not get kidnapped.
That's awesome.
On average. Drew's Clues. So this is the segment where we talk about things we learned about Nancy herself, sometimes her family, but mostly about Nancy, because yes, we're learning lots of clues about the mystery, but I want to know more about the detective herself. What did you find?
Two different things stand out to me for Drew's clues. And they both actually kind of are within the same vein.
Okay.
The first one was fairly early in the book when they are stuck in the car during a storm, which is not the first time this has happened.
Yeah, this happens constantly to them.
But it is a pretty bad storm. During this, the text tells us Nancy pretended to be calm, but she really was very much worried. And so kind of what I see here is that Nancy is someone who likes to put on a brave face for others. I think we kind of knew this about her, but we don't see a lot of times where she admits that she's like nervous.
I agree.
Scared.
Because the narrator is third person, but it's pretty much on Nancy's shoulder, right?
Exactly.
And we don't usually see Nancy feeling worried until she's actively being left for dead somewhere.
Yes. Oftentimes Bess is freaking out. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, come on, Bess. Get it together. You're fine. We're fine. And so the fact that Nancy is also like, actually, yeah, this is pretty terrifying, I think says a lot about her. Now, she still does not go to Bess and be like, you know what, Bess, you're right. This is terrifying. And, you know, who's to say which way is the correct way to respond?
Right.
I personally tend to be a little bit more like empathetic, like, yep, this is scary, but we're going to get through this.
Right.
I'm
nervous. Acknowledging that it is there's a negativity here.
Yes, that doesn't mean that Nancy is incorrect in putting on a brave face. But the second one is also kind of a time that I see Nancy not being 100% successful at the first thing. So I guess these are, I don't want to say these are negative things I've learned about her at all. They actually, to me, kind of humanize her a little bit more. Because
she's not this godlike Barbie all the time.
Exactly. And that is when she learns how to milk the cow. She's the last one.
Oh, yeah.
They make fun of Bess because Bess can't do it. Nancy struggles as well.
She does.
And she does succeed eventually, but it says that it was awkward. And there is very few times, I feel like, that Nancy is ever described as awkward.
Agreed.
And so that really stood out to me and made me like her all that much more because I am someone who does not succeed the first time I try everything.
Especially with milking a cow. I mean, when she interfaced with that before?
Exactly. And Nancy just tends to be so good at everything else she tries. It's nice to see her be a little human.
I like that a lot. It really goes with mine because the reason they're learning to milk the cows, they're helping out around at the farm / kind of B&B, but mostly farm at this time. And so they're learning, like, here's how we, put the horse in and out of pasture, etc. But at home, she helps out too. Like, Hannah Gruen is objectively their housekeeper. It says she's a mother figure, but she is the housekeeper. They pay her. But Nancy doesn't get started on her decoding of these quote-unquote stock numbers until she's done helping Hannah with the chores. And I love that because you're paying her money. You technically don't have to, but, like, if you are saying she's your mother figure, you had better be helping her with the stuff in your house. And,
exactly.
I feel like Carson should too, but he's busy lawyering, etc. But I really love that for Nancy. And I feel like it has happened in many books where she's helping with the cleaning. And
very helpful.
I really like that. I also love that it's kind of the opposite of yours, but it's more about her perseverance because she has not decoded stuff before, which is interesting.
Yes.
So she gets these numbers. She's like, this is not stock numbers. Some of them have like tildes over them. This is not what stocks are. And so her dad's like, I got a book on codes. You can test it out. Like, I'm not super good at it, but I've got a reference book. She's like, absolutely. I'd like to try. He's like, oh, yeah, you can, test out your sleuthing mind. But if you don't figure out the code, you can always turn it over to an expert. And she goes, not until I've had a fighting chance at it myself. And she says that with spirit.
Yes.
And then it turns out she's really good at it and cracks it in 2 hours. And in fact, later the Secret Service are like, this is one of the most baffling cases of counterfeiting the United States has ever had. However did you do it, Nancy? So, on the other hand, she's not great at milking a cow, but she does solve one of the most baffling cases in the history of the United States and counterfeiting schemes. So, Oh, also she might have a short-term memory loss problem or something.
Tell me
That
more.
might not be the correct, it might have been long-term, but she goes shopping and then the girl faints on the train and then there's a creepy guy and then the girl gets off the train and is like, I'm ready to go for my job interview here in Riverside Heights. And Nancy's like, this is fully a different city named River Heights and yes, it is annoying, but you're in the wrong place. And the girl's like, oh no, I need this job. And there's a lot going on, but she gets home, she goes, I can't remember when so much ever happened to me in one day. And it's like, Nancy, you got kidnapped and locked in a closet on other days.
Yes.
This was a lot, but this is by far not your most...
You've been half drowned. You
were in a submarine. There's other days that have had as much, if not objectively more going on.
And a lot of the things that you've dealt with in this book, you've already dealt with before.
Yes, objectively so many. We're running out of ideas by book 6. I do love how much I'm like, we've seen the car stuck in the mud before. We've seen the dirt road get rained out before. We've seen the note from Carson that's a fraud. There's so much happening she's already dealt with.
There's a cave.
There's a cave with a mystery in it. Oh my God.
Oh, Yeah, maybe Nancy has taken a few too many
Lumps to the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're worried about her. She also had brain cobwebs starting in book 1, so this might be some of that coming back.
Yeah. Those brain cobwebs.
Those are nasty. They'll get you every time.
Sleuthing skills.
We've now come to sleuthing skills, the part of the show where we tell you what skills you need to be working on, just like our dear Nancy Drew.
These are things you should already have in your back pocket before you even start your first mystery, just so you know.
Yeah, so make sure you are working on these skills
Before you get a case across your desk.
Yes. However, side note, Nancy does learn new skills in this book that help her with her sleuthing. So occasionally there might be an example of something that you can learn on the go, but we don't.
Most of these you should have down.
Most of these you should have down, exactly.
Oh, yeah. I think one of the most important skills that Nancy shows in this is her math skills, and this shows up in 2 different places. Now, one, she has these stock numbers with the tildes and the underlines and all these different things. They're not stock numbers. They're they are talking about like a meeting that the cult is calling. And she frantically scribbles them and carefully keeps them in their right order. I don't know about you, but when I write down numbers, they just go all over the page wherever I want. And so this is just a really important skill when you are writing down a code. You can't do that. You have to keep them in order because then the code won't work.
It's true. It's true.
And then her math shows up later in a chapter called Money, Money, One Money Short of the hit song by ABBA/Mamma Mia, the musical. And this is, Nancy did some mental arithmetic and came to the conclusion that 3 steady boarders who paid their bills regularly might help to lessen the amount of the mortgage interest payments that threatened Red Gate. So it's not only important to know how to do arithmetic, but it's important to know that arithmetic is just kind of guessing about numbers. It's not.
That's what I do.
Yeah, it's just knowing that no money plus some money equals good.
Some money.
Mark? And that's what arithmetic is all about, Charlie Brown. So you do need to know that.
Amazing. I think we saw this in a previous book as well, but I just wanted to make sure we re-emphasize how important it is to be able to memorize a license plate.
We have seen
instantly.
Instinctively, I believe it says.
She does it twice in this book.
That's part of her math skills.
Yes, she's very good with numbers.
And
you should be too.
You should be too. So when the car gets stuck in the mud, you have to get out the 2 pieces of heavy burlap that you keep in your trunk at all times and use that to get your car out of the rain. There's a combo of pushing, revving the engine, and having the burlap for some traction. So not only do you need to use this burlap, but you just have to have it at all times. I don't ever carry burlap around, so I'm not ready to go sleuthing just yet.
Now, side note, I did once get my car stuck in some muddy slush in Colorado.
Gross.
And had the exact same problem that Nancy did.
Did you have burlap?
I did not, but I did have a pile of gravel near me. And so I
In
grabbed...
your car?
Nope.
Okay.
Just next to the parking lot I was stuck in. And so I just grabbed handfuls and put them behind my wheels, and it gave me enough traction to back out. So it did work.
I think that's a good sleuthing skill because you didn't pack your burlap. You
did not.
Neglected the burlap packing that you got to do every morning. Every morning you put more ones in there in case they've run out. But you use what's around you.
Yep, you do. You gotta look around.
That's very good.
Stuff. I think I have one more sleuthing skill. Okay. Oh, this is about first aid.
Is this when George gets bit by a snake?
George gets bit by a snake, and assumedly it is not a poisonous snake, and there are no complications because it happens. They take care of it, and then it's never mentioned ever again. When it happens, Nancy has a tiny pair of scissors in her bag. Mm-hmm. She cuts George's skin into a cross to bleed it out. She tourniquets the leg
so that the above and below the cut doesn't for the bite.
Yeah, doesn't recirculate. And she wants to sterilize the scissors before cutting her friend's leg open,
which I appreciate.
And she pours parts of the perfume on it.
I don't know that.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that part. However, many perfumes I'm pretty sure are alcohol-based, so at least...
Well, I just really appreciate what she says is, let's make tourniquets, girls. I just appreciate her can-do attitude. Oh, a really important sleuthing skill is kind of communicating without speaking. Now, this can come in handy in we're trapped in this, you should run, or look at him, he's got a hammer, or, something like that. In this case, though, this is more of an emotional communication. This is right near the end. They're saying, guess this will teach you girls to mix with the black snake colony, says a raucous voice, wild adjective, and they're, going to be left for dead. Nancy held back a retort, but her icy look told the man she did not appreciate the remark. So vital.
You've got to be able to serve some looks.
Please let the bad guys know that you don't appreciate their remarks. Going back to her math skills, there's a couple letters with like the squigglies and the stuff on her, and they're not really sure what they stand for. And she suddenly goes, M. Why, that could stand for Maurice. Maybe that man's name is Maurice. And Bess goes, well, now I'll sleep better. And you solved it. That's the only thing M can stand for. You did it. And she knows that because of her math. 16 is M, and that's the number that she sees. You also have to know, she sees one of the rude guys at the gas station, and they had a Texas ID. I know. But she goes, none of those suspicious men talked like a Texan. The driver's license may have been forged, and you have to know that it is easier to fake official government documentation than an accent. That is really important to know, and definitely true. I almost forgot one very important sleuthing skill. You have to be so good at advertising that multiple people comment and say you should go into that instead of detectiving. Did you notice this at the end? She makes the cave where they're doing the counterfeiting. She puts up like dummies to represent what they were doing.
This is what it looked like.
It's like a giant human-sized diorama of like, see the mysterious cavern used by counterfeiters, admission 50 cents. And then she makes another sign about like regain health at Redgate Farm, borders by the day or week. And there's all this traffic, and they're raising money, and they make $30, which means 60 people came to see this on the first day. And her dad's like, the last line of the book is, Nancy, as I think of your adventure at Redgate Farm, I can't decide whether you're better as a detective or as a promoter. So you just have to be, like, good at other jobs. Yep. That's very important. Accidentally gay. This is the segment where we find things in the books that may not have been intended to be gay, but do read that way to ours, or at least my biased eyes. Some of this is they'll just say gay or queer as an adjective meaning happy or weird. Some of this is just what I know about queer people, being one myself.
Oftentimes what I catch are the ones of the word queer doesn't have the same connotations today as it did then, but it makes it more fun to read.
Exactly.
So, this is when Joanne is explaining how they rent part of the property to this cult. She's like, oh, by the way, there's this cavern. And they're like, oh my God, I would love to go into a cave. Well, actually, you can't. Because, and she says, I don't see why we can't. It's still our land. Joanne frowned. A queer lot of people are renting it, though.
Oh, nature cults are so queer.
Honestly, I would be surprised.
Yeah.
And if this were just a typical, friendly, queer nature cult, I think this would have been great.
That's how I play Stardew Valley.
Yeah, that is the plot of Stardew Valley for many players, including Colleen.
Including me specifically.
And so that sounds like a wonderful place.
And they don't wear white sheets at all.
No. But yes, that's one of the accidentally gays I have. What about you?
Oh, I initially had shipped Nancy and Joanne for the first little bit. I mentioned this earlier because, Nancy sees her. She's like, this sweet-looking girl, she looks so polite. She looks so sweet. She mentions so many times how sweet she looks and how pretty and good-looking. And then Joanne later is like, call me Joe because we're going to know each other for a while. It's very cute. And she wants Nancy to go with her to her job interview because she's
nervous.
But it just kind of falls by the wayside. So I don't ship them specifically, but I do really like
she's had more chemistry with some of our other one-off
specifically.
characters.
And I need to follow up and see if Helen's still with that weird husband who came out of nowhere. Fiance who came out of nowhere.
Jim.
So I got to follow up and see if Helen's in book 7 because she was not mentioned at all. But most of my stuff is about George being specifically coming off as butch here. Like, we've seen this before.
I mean, it's a common reading of George.
Oh, yeah. Love this. She's got the short hair. She's got the manly name. And they mentioned that. They're like, she's got a boyish haircut and a boyish name. But this is a girl. Don't worry. When Bess and George and Nancy are going to go be boarders on this farm, Bess is like, I was going to visit my aunt, but we can reschedule that. And George is like, I'm going to miss out on a camping trip. Yep. Exactly. And then later when she gets bit by a snake, of course she stoically did not make a sound the entire time. George is a butch icon and we'd love to see it.
I feel like I'll be honest, this was not my favorite.
It's not?
Of the books we've read so far. But I do appreciate we got a little bit more characterization for Bess and George.
I agree.
Because
it wasn't as mean to Bess. Like, teasing, but not mean.
Yeah. The dynamics felt a lot
more like what you remember?
Yes. Yeah, we're getting into
although the plot and the racism was those were both not great.
Yeah, I would
Obviously.
say the characterization.
Yes.
You know, we got a little bit more humanity for Nancy. We got more interactions between Bess and George that weren't so George just being mean.
Just
to
bullying
Bess.
her cousin. Like, Bess either stands up and, like, kind of banters back. It's more banter than just bullying. And Bess is, like, also like, hey, you know what? Yeah, I'm putting on the pounds, but who cares? It's a Sunday, and I love it. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I really liked this for the characterization of our main three.
Yes,
And I want
agreed.
more of Helen. I like Helen. I hope she comes back.
Me too.
Yeah. Oh, my other accidentally gay is just Nancy, when they're like, ooh, you know, you should see if Carl Jr. will come around more. He really likes you, Nancy. And Bess goes, well, Carl Jr. wouldn't be so bad, but imagine having that guy, the cranky boarder, for a father-in-law. And Nancy's like, oh, you do the imagining. I'm going outside. You have fun with that. That's not for me. That's not necessarily queer. That could just be aromantic. That could be anything. It's just like, hey, I'm literally so busy with my sleuthing. But
She is so tired of being shipped with all of these
I'm
guys.
sorry, Nancy.
Because if we're not doing it, Bess is doing it for her.
Exactly. Sometimes even George.
Mm-hmm.
Miscellaneous mysteries.
In this segment, Miscellaneous Mysteries, we look at any lingering questions that we have, things that didn't fit really into any particular other segment. And so we'll get started with talking about the Secret Service.
Yeah, I mentioned them briefly in my limerick and perhaps throughout this. They came to look at the counterfeit bills.
And-
When I think Secret Service, I think the president's bodyguards. What do you think?
And that's exactly what I thought too. And I was like, what the heck? And so this did inspire another Wikipedia rabbit
I
hole,
love to see it.
which is about the Secret Service. The Secret Service was established in the 1880s by Abraham Lincoln,
Heard of him?
specifically to stop the counterfeiting issue that the United States was having. And
He
so,
so cares about that because he's on two of the money.
yes, he didn't want them to make the fake money with his face. Wanted to protect his image. No. But the Secret Service was not put in charge of protecting government leaders and officials until much later in its history. And even to this day, it is still has divisions in charge of like cybercrime and hacking and things like that. So not only do they protect the president, and it used to be just the president. Then when Robert F. Kennedy was assassinated, they're like, oh, also maybe
I guess the family members.
the family members and other people who are running for office.
Presidents, right?
Yes. And so now they've kind of like expanded that part, but they weren't, their initial job was actually about counterfeiting. And so,
Interesting. So this is very normal.
yes,
To them.
to us, maybe this would have been a good one in Blast from the Past now, but
Yeah.
it ends up in Miscellaneous Mysteries.
When I first saw, they're like, yeah, we're the Secret Service. We're here to look at this money. I was like, so this is definitely fake people pretending to be the Secret Service, right? Because that's not what they do. And then they went on. I was like, yeah, this is very normal. And we all know that the Secret Service does this. I'm like, okay, I'll just let that one slide.
yeah,
I
is the
guess.
president also about to appear?
Is he,
like,
does he need a Sunday? Does he need a fake 20? We got both. Incredible.
do you have any other miscellaneous
I just have
mysteries?
a couple left over. So Nancy gets accosted by this guy on the train because she smells like distilled perfume. He goes, any word from the chief? And she's like, what's going on? I'm bewildered. This doesn't make any sense to me. Girl, you talk to a guy that you call the chief all the time. This is Chief McGinnis. You called him 2 or 3 times in this book. Any word from the chief? I don't know what that
And
means.
she's like, I don't know anyone named Chief.
I mean,
I
you're
don't-
right. He's not named Chief, but like this said the chief, and that would make perfect sense for describing Chief McGinnis. Why? Why was this so baffling? Like, yes, this wasn't a message for you, but it definitely could have been, and that's on you, Nancy. One of my other mysteries is why are Riverside Heights and River Heights named in such a way? They're only a few miles apart. The names are confusing even to people who live near here, apparently. Why do we do that?
Why?
Why is it still that? Yeah, signs are expensive, but so are all the people that are going the wrong place all the time. One of my other mysteries is, what does Bess think caves are? She hears there's a cave. She's excited. She says, how exciting? She says, what kind is it? A home for bears or a pirate's den? I have a new gender dichotomy for you. Are you a home for bears or are you a pirate's den? Personally, I would call myself more of a pirate's den, I think. I think I'm not a home for bears. I think that's not what I'm into.
I don't know. I think I might be a home for bears.
You
I
might
don't
be a
know.
home for bears. I like that. I just think it's very funny. Like, yeah, I know about caves. These are the 2 types of cave. It's me, Bess, cave expert. And my other thing is, what do they mean by their grotesque motions? They talk about the fake dancing, or I mean, I guess it can be real dance. Dancing is what you feel, but it does say that the people are not taking the dancing seriously. Once they get up close enough to hear it, they see every member's doing a different dance. It's not like choreographed. They're just kind of moving around. And B, they're complaining like, how much longer do we have to do these stupid motions? And they're like, until the people think that we're crazy and they never come visit us and they'll never look at our counterfeiting. Wah ha ha. But every single time it's described as grotesque motions. Are they just flipping people off? What are they doing? What is this? Does that mean something else? I'm gonna Google it right now, but
Meaning of grotesque?
I've only known it to mean gross, right?
Yeah, gross, disgusting.
Oh, but wait, what about a grotesque on a building? Isn't that like a gargoyle? Hold on. Okay. In the early 17th century, which is not in this book, to be clear, this is Merriam-Webster.com, a style of decorative art characterized by fanciful or fantastic human and animal forms, often interwoven with foliage or similar figures that may distort the natural into absurdity, ugliness, or a caricature. So maybe not quite a gargoyle, but along those lines. Let me do a little Google image. Grotesque on a building. Oh, like these guys. We've seen these guys.
Yes.
Like, that's not a real guy. He's a little gross, but mostly it's just weird. Okay. That's all my miscellaneous mistress. Gumshoe Game Show. Welcome to the Gumshoe Game Show. Now, normally, Megan, you are playing for the gift that Nancy gets in the book or something we think is better. So previously, you've won an old clock, you've won a tricorn hat, you've won an aquamarine ring, you've won a diamond pin in the form of a lilac spray, and a watch with a heart carved in. Nancy didn't get jack in this book. She received no gifts. It's very sad. So what would you like to play for today?
I think I would like the gooey sundaes that they ate more than once, I think.
There were several gooey Sunday occurrences. All right, I'll make sure to mail that out if you win it. Nice and temperature controlled. It's going to be extra gooey. All right, so as we discussed, the blue jade perfume was a recurring theme in this book. Do you know where I'm going with this? You look apprehensive.
I do feel apprehensive.
You feel apprehensive. That's great. That's
I always feel apprehensive.
That's not related. That's just Megan and me. Anyway, this quiz, the Gumshoe Game Show for today, is about blue nouns. Oh, just a variety of blue nouns. Okay. I think that they'll either be very easy or not easy at all, but there's a variety of bonus questions involved.
Okay, thank goodness.
There's ways to make up the points.
Yeah,
Are you ready?
Yeah, I haven't lost at all.
Yeah, you've won every time so far. Ooh, so
the pressure mounts.
The pressure does mount. Are you feeling blue?
I'm feeling blue.
Okay, good. Blue noun number 1, blue dogs. Which of these animated dogs is not blue?
Oh, okay.
We have A, Blue from Blue's Clues. B, Huckleberry Hound from the Huckleberry Hound Show. Option C, we have Chili Healer Nay Cattle, the mom from Bluey. You're welcome for including her maiden name. I looked up the entire family tree.
Oh my. Okay.
Option D, Bandit Healer, not Nay anything, the dad from Bluey. Which one is not blue?
I'm pretty sure it's Chili, Bluey's mom.
Correct. Yes. She married into the Blue family. Very good.
I think she's tan.
She's like a tan. Very good. Blue noun number 2, Blue Steel. What movie features a male model whose iconic pose featuring yes, just like that. Featuring pursed lips and sucked-in cheeks was called Blue Steel. I feel that she already knows without the choices, but I do want to give you the choices so our audience can play along. We have A, Zoolander. B, Zootopia. C, We Bought a Zoo. Or D, Magic Mike 3, Magic Mike's Last Dance.
It's a tough one, but I think it's Zoolander.
It is Zoolander. And for a bonus point, what year did this movie come out? Here's a hint that won't help. I watched it for the first time in college. I thought it had come out then. It didn't.
I figured it was before then.
It is before then.
I'm going to guess 2006.
2001. Oh. That was a bonus point. That's okay. It came out almost 2 weeks to the day after 9/11. Blue noun number 3, the Blue Man Group.
Oh boy.
What TV show features a character? You know it. It was either you're going to instantly know it or not know it at all. What TV show features a character who aspires to be a part of the Blue Man Group, initially assuming it's for depressed blue men, but he is still interested when he finds out what it really is, to the point of wearing full-body blue paint around the house? Is it A, Parks and Rec, B, The Office, C, Arrested Development, or D, Killing Eve?
All of those are great shows.
3 are more similar than the other.
3 are more similar than the other. That's from Arrested Development.
It is. For a bonus, what is the name of the character?
That is Tobias Funke.
Very good.
Dr. Tobias Funke. Apologies.
Oh, very good. Blue noun number 4. You're doing great.
I feel good.
You should feel good.
But I'm a little worried about this one.
That's all right. What is the fabled Bluebeard known for? A. Setting his beard on fire to intimidate enemies. B. Roaming the 7 seas for gold on the ship the Black Falcon. C. Slitting the throats of his half-dozen wives, stashing their corpses in the basement of his castle, and telling the newest wife not to look. Or D. Getting silver poisoning. Talk me through your thought process.
What's his name
Megan.
again?
His name is Bluebeard.
Bluebeard. I thought he was a Viking, but maybe I'm mixing him up with someone else. One of the Vikings is the origin of the symbol for Bluetooth.
Is that what you're thinking of?
That is what I'm thinking of.
I was going to say it, but I didn't know if that would give it away. Yeah, you're thinking of Bluetooth.
Okay,
His
not
name is,
Bluebeard.
I believe, Eric Bluetooth or something like that.
Something like that. I was like, that's why I was thinking, and it being on a ship.
Harold Bluetooth. I sound so
Harold
foolish when I say Eric.
I'm guessing between B and C. And
Okay.
I'm thinking now Bluebeard maybe is an English pirate.
Does it help if I tell you the country of origin?
Yes, but maybe not.
France.
Ah, God. That doesn't help. I know, I said it maybe. I corrected myself. I'm going to go with C.
Very good. This is a fable. This is like almost Beauty and the Beast. But he just like keeps killing the wives, slitting their throats, stashing in the basement, and it's like you can go anywhere in the castle except the basement. This is where the key is, but don't go in there. And then when they go in there, he kills that wife too.
Oh, sad.
I don't think he's even a pirate. The first one was Blackbeard, although he didn't actually set his hair on fire. He set little like candles and stuff and pieces of fuse in his hair and his beard to intimidate his enemies. And the second one was Redbeard. And the last one was people who take colloidal silver supplements turned blue. And that was... Don't do that. It's often irreversible.
Oh my goodness.
It's not good for you. Don't do this.
Okay, I won't.
And blue now, number 5. Now you have gotten, you have 5 out of 4 because you've gotten a bonus.
Oh my goodness.
I
So
know.
I already win?
You already win.
But I
which
still
is
want the
why-
last question.
Which is why, for this one, there are no multiple choice.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm. What artist and what Disney protagonists are each known, this is 2 different people, are each known for having a blue period?
Okay, it is Elvis Presley and Lilo from Lilo and Stitch.
I will give that to you. I was thinking painting artist, Picasso, famously, but I will allow that she styles herself after Elvis Presley. I believe Picasso was meant to be the
I
one
think
with the
you're
blue
right,
period.
so I think I get
half on that one. But
it was
very
Lilo.
good. It was Lilo.
That's from my blue period.
Exactly. And I would say the bonus half point for the imitation
Thank you.
of the exact quotation when Stitch rips.
I thought I did also a very good vocal imitation of her voice.
That was very good.
Thank you.
She's quite shrill. She's got a lot going on. And so you do, in fact, win an Ooey Gooey Sundae made extra gooey, perhaps by its posting in the mail. Very, very good.
Thank you so much for joining us on Me and You and Nancy Drew.
This podcast is lovingly dedicated to the memory of my wonderful mother, Shar, world's best mom, and the woman who got me hooked on sassy female detective stories. I also want to thank my brother Ben for creating most of our sound and music cues for this podcast. Thanks, Ben.
You can check out our website, meandyouandnancydrew.com, for show transcripts, links to our social media, and our Patreon, where we'll post any images that we described during the podcast. Those will be visible to anyone without a paywall, so that we're not describing nebulous images that you can't see at home. But if you'd like to become a patron, there are various perks there, including outtakes or things that got cut for time, stickers, and cross-stitch patterns to create your own Drewseum at home, and more.
Thank you, Megan, for editing the podcast, doing a lot of research about podcast creation, and adding a few additional sound cues as needed.
Thank you, Colleen, for also editing the podcast, for transcribing it, and for helping create our logo.
Thank you to our partners for all the support and love, and especially for lending us their microphones that they bought for a completely different purpose, but said we could borrow once in a while.
Thank you to libraries everywhere for giving access to Nancy Drew books and all the other books that we mentioned today, and just media of all kinds to people everywhere for free.
And finally, thank you, of course, to Carolyn Keene for independently writing each of the Nancy Drew books from 1930 to modern day. We couldn't do this without you and your 613 individual novels.
And don't forget the moral of this episode.
I'd rather be pleasantly plump than give up Sundays.